Up, everybody? Casey from Pro Wrestling Roundabout here, PWR if that's what you want to call us. And I'm here with the very first episode of PWR's new podcast, right here on the AMP network, the Roar network, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter, because PWR is here, and we just made the entire channel a million times better. But I'm here with my first episode. I know it was announced a while back that we were going to be joining on, but I had to find the right time. I wanted to do it right after WrestleMania, but then the Superstar Shakeup was like 2 weeks after Mania, so I said, you know what, I'll go ahead and wait. I want to cover the Superstar Shakeup. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be covering the Superstar Shakeup. We're going to be covering Luke Harper apparently requesting his release from WWE. Cody Rhodes' Cody's opponent for Double or Nothing has been announced, and it's a doozy, and I love it. And a special appearance by a seemingly retired wrestler over the weekend at an indie show. We're going to touch on all that. But first, I want to send a special shout out Collar and Elbow, because Collar and Elbow, if you guys don't know, go check them out. We are sponsored through Collar and Elbow Studios here. If you want to use our code PWR1 at checkout, you get 10% off of your entire order, and that helps us make a little bit of money. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into it, guys. My goal is to not keep everybody here forever, and I won't. So, we're going to jump right into Raw. We're going to talk about the superstars that have moved over to Raw, who's going to benefit greatly, and who is going to maybe miss the mark a little bit, or who has the biggest risk of getting lost in the shuffle of the Superstar Shakeup, because the Superstar Shakeup can be great. It can lead a lot of wrestlers to go in the right direction, but it can lead a lot of wrestlers in the wrong direction, and I think we've seen a lot of that over the last few years. So let's jump right into it. I'll go ahead and just name off all the superstars that made the jump over to Monday Night Raw. That was AJ Styles, The Miz, Ricochet, Aleister Black, Eric and Ivar, formerly known as Hanson and Rowe, the War Raiders, now known as the Viking Experience. I'm going to touch on that. Andrade with Zelina Vega, Cedric Alexander, Rey Mysterio, The Usos, Naomi, EC3, Lacey Evans, and Eric Young, formerly of Sanity. Now, real quick, I'll touch on that. For those of you who don't know, Sanity is no more. Eric Young seems to have moved over to Raw. Alexander Wolf, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead like 10 seconds. Alexander Wolf has made his debut in NXT UK as part of a stable with Walter. And I'm drawing a blank on the third guy, but the third member is Killian Dane, is apparently still on the SmackDown roster, even though he's been critical of how the group was not used on TV. But let's talk about the Viking Experience. I was a little confused when I saw these guys come out, because I love the War Raiders. I've been watching them since Ring of Honor and New Japan. I've watched them on and off for a few years. I have a lot of mutual friends with them that watch them come up in the business and have nothing but good things to say about them. Shout out to Shane Taylor. But a lot of people are freaking out about the name changes. Eric and Ivar, and changing to the Viking Experience. Now, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think these guys have such a high work rate and are so good for big guys, so athletic for big guys, and can move so well for big guys. I think, I don't want to say it wouldn't matter what name you give them, but I almost think it doesn't matter that they're going to be called the Viking Experience, because I feel like it'll grow on people. I think they're money either way, so I don't think that really matters too much. I think they're fine. They came in with a huge win immediately on their Monday Night Raw debut, so I think they'll be fine. I like them a lot. The name, not a big fan, but it'll be fine, because they're such good workers. Now, another name that has come up from NXT that we've seen on and off for a few months now. She'll show up, walk around, she won't wrestle, Well, she finally got aggressive. She finally got in the face of the women's champion, Becky Lynch. Not only got in her face, but threw a strong right, and that was pretty cool. I like Lacey. I'm not sure how much I like her, though. Apparently, they are high on her in WWE, and there are big plans for her to be a major player going forward. So she has apparently opened up a feud with Becky Lynch, and that'll be for the Raw Women's Championship, I assume. I assume it won't be for both. But I like Lacey, but I like Becky a lot more. Either way, I think this rivalry will be fun. I think you're really throwing Lacey in the deep end right away, so she's got to sink or swim. So I think it's too early to form a strong opinion on Lacey Evans, but they're going to make it tough for her right away, so she's got to really run with it. Biggest winners I have for the Superstar Shakeup for Raw, The Miz, AJ Styles, The Usos, and Andrade. Look, The Miz, Andrade, not Andrade, The Miz, AJ, and The Usos really needed more people to work with. They had kind of gone through everybody they could on SmackDown. And Andrade is the future if you use him right. This guy is so talented, and a lot of people don't really realize the history that he's got in professional wrestling. And if you use him correctly, he could make you a lot of money, and he could eventually be a world champion for you. But you've got to use him correctly. Sorry, I just got a notification on my computer. But you got to use him correctly, and I think putting him on the big stage, he's ready for that, especially having Zelina Vega in his corner, because Zelina is amazing. I love her. She's awesome, and they're great together. So I think this is a big win for Andrade as well. Now, the guys that I think have the most risk of getting lost in the shuffle on Raw is going to be Ricochet, Aleister Black, and EC3. EC3 is already kind of looking like he's there. Getting Drake Maverick put with him is interesting because of their history from Impact, with Drake Maverick being Rockstar Spud. I'm anxious to see where they go with that, but I think Ricochet and Black are going to have a hard time. I don't want to say a hard time fitting in, because I think it'll be easy to find them stuff to do. I just don't think that it'll be quite up to their potential. Ricochet, I like on Raw. I think Aleister Black should have gone to SmackDown. I think Aleister Black could have fit in greatly on SmackDown. I think eventually what we're going to see is these two are a team right now, and eventually, I don't think one of them are going to turn, but, things are going to come to a boiling point. Eventually, we'll see them one-on-one at a pay-per-view, and I think that makes the most sense. We'll probably see them in the Money in the Bank match coming up because, you have to have Ricochet and Aleister Black in that Money in the Bank match. But after that, I just don't have enough confidence in WWE to use them correctly and use them appropriately, if that makes the most sense. But we're going to have to wait and see. I am anxious to see what happens, but I think that they are at the biggest risk of getting lost in the shuffle. Let's jump over to the SmackDown side. Now, the SmackDown side, we have a few interesting names. I think SmackDown won this shakeup just because of the sheer possibility of what could happen. But let's go through the list. We've got Roman Reigns, Finn Balor bringing the Intercontinental Championship. Oh, that's another thing. Sorry, let me jump back to Raw real quick. Big rumors of Samoa Joe making the jump to Monday Night Raw in an angle. I'm recording this actually on Monday, so this will be tonight. There are big rumors of Samoa Joe debuting tonight in an angle and bringing the U.S. Championship over to Monday Night Raw. But for SmackDown, we've got Roman Reigns, Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor, Elias, Bayley, Ember Moon, Kyra Sain, which shout out to Donnie because I called it, Lars Sullivan, Buddy Murphy, Liv Morgan splitting up from the Riot Squad, Chad Gable, Apollo Crews, Mickie James, and Heavy Machinery, all jumping over to the SmackDown side. Now, with this being SmackDown, let's talk about a SmackDown superstar that has apparently requested his release, and that is Luke Harper. Apparently Luke Harper, which I don't know about you, but I can't say that I blame him. Luke Harper not happy with his role in the company. Apparently he was cleared months ago to return, and they just haven't used him. And I mean, this is a guy who has constantly shown he can work, has a fantastic work rate, and he has gotten in much, 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 much better shape. And it just sucks that he's not being used properly. I think if used properly, this guy could have been a world champion. I think that going into WrestleMania, 33 in Florida, they had that WWE Championship match. Bray Wyatt defended against Randy Orton. I think that should have been a triple threat. You should have had Luke Harper in there as well. And that would have made so much more sense. The dynamic would have been great. And they've just missed the ball with him a lot. And I can't blame him for wanting to leave. And Chris Jericho recently said that they're not just going to take anybody off the street that comes out from WWE and bring them into AEW. But I think Luke Harper, he would probably go back to his indie name of Brody Lee, would be a fantastic fit there. Now let's talk about Kyra Sain coming up to the main roster to team up with Asuka with what seems to be Paige as their manager. Which, if Paige is their manager, I love that, because Paige was a good general manager for Raw. For SmackDown, sorry. She was a good GM. And obviously, she's not wrestling at the moment. She can't wrestle due to health reasons. So, pairing Kyra Sain and Asuka together is great. But the problem is that neither one of their English is great. So, throw Paige in there. That adds that nice little dynamic to it. Gives them a mouthpiece. And Paige can work either heel or face, so that gives the option to turn Asuka and Sain heel later on down the line if you want. I think it's a great move for all three. Gives all three a new dynamic, especially with the women tag team titles now being, prevalent. Another woman that I am very sad about, though, is Liv Morgan. I love Liv Morgan. You can ask any of my friends, any of my buddies that are into wrestling. I love Liv Morgan. Which is why it pains me to say that her splitting up from the Riot Squad is going to cause her to get lost in the shuffle of SmackDown easily. Especially moving Sain up to the main roster, moving Kyra Sain up, and moving Bayley and Ember Moon over. Liv Morgan is going to get lost in the shuffle big time, and that pains me to say because I love her so much. But the fact of the matter is she's not the best in-ring worker. She's got great charisma, but we never hear her on the mic. So, unless they're going to do like kind of what they did with Carmella, and maybe groom her a little more and eventually turn her heel. I say heel, she already is kind of a heel. But kind of make her to where she eventually will be a women's champion, even if it may be for a short time. I don't know, but maybe SmackDown is the best place for her to go, so that way she can actually, evolve into the talent she needs to be. Because Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott over on Raw are there. I think that they are good. So maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, and maybe Liv will come out on top from this. But I think this is going to be tough for her, and I think she might. I'm fearing she might get lost in the shuffle. Now, biggest winners. I think these are easy to call. Biggest winners are going to be Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Lars Sullivan, and Elias. I think those are the biggest winners by far. I think the biggest winner of all of those, call me crazy, but I think it's Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is a guy that is a superstar, obviously, and the crowd loves him. But I think that sending him right to Raw was a good idea at the time, but then his injury really, really, really set that back. And I think when he came back, he should have been sent immediately to SmackDown. SmackDown has more of that NXT vibe, if you want to look at it that way. And Finn shot NXT off the map and brought them into the stratosphere when Finn Balor was there and was the NXT champion. Longest reigning at the time. I think he might still be. But I think Finn Balor's going to benefit the most from this just because of the new rivalries he can have. It's only 2 hours instead of 3 hours on SmackDown. It's going to be a little different once they move to Fox. But I think Finn's going to benefit greatly from this. Now, a few guys that I feel like it might be too late for. I feel like WWE might have missed the boat on Chad Gable and Apollo Crews. If you told me this move was happening 3 years ago, I'd be really excited that these guys were, going to get some spotlight of their own. But I think that it might be a little too late, and I think the crowd might just be over both of them at this point. So call me crazy, but I think that WWE might have really missed the boat on these guys, and it's probably a little too late. And I'm fearful that these guys are just going to end up, and I hate this term, but I feel like they're just going to end up as glorified jobbers, where they put on great matches but lose every time. So we'll have to wait and see. But we talked about a few of the women that have moved over. Let's talk about Bayley, and let's talk about Sasha. Let's talk about the Boston Hug connection. Apparently, Sasha Banks reportedly tried to quit WWE over WrestleMania weekend. WWE sent her home, let her think it over. Whatever the case may be. It's all hearsay at this point. It's all he said, she said. Apparently, Sasha and Bayley were upset that they were losing the titles whenever they found out at WrestleMania, and they apparently threw temper tantrums at the arena and at their hotel. They have low-key disputed those facts on social media. Whatever the case may be, we haven't seen Sasha on TV for a while, but now I'm hearing rumors that was the plan all along, and that the plan all along was to split up Sasha and Bayley at the Superstar Shakeup. So I have no idea. I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows, and that the people that do know aren't telling anybody. So, what to make of this, I don't know. Bayley is another one that I think maybe it's a little too late for her. She was a women's champion. She was the first ever women's tag team champion. So let's not act like her resume is lacking by any means. But I feel like Bayley's one that will kind of get lost in the shuffle as well, being, separated from Sasha. Now that's about it for the Superstar Shakeup. But before I continue and talk about some AEW, I want to send a special shout out to Lake Charles Cryotherapy, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about them. Now, Lake Charles Cryotherapy, if you haven't heard about them, they are natural wellness in 3 minutes. Their slogan is rejuvenate, heal, recover. Now, if you guys haven't heard of cryotherapy, go look it up. It's CRYO therapy. I won't spell out that whole word. If you type in cryo in Google, it'll probably finish it out. But don't just type in cryotherapy, type in Lake Charles Cryotherapy. They are located at 832 University Drive, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70605. Their phone number is 337-656-2907, and you can find them at www.lccryo.com. That's LCCRYO.com. Now, let me tell you a little bit about them. This is Discovering Cryotherapy. It's a step into Lake Charles Cryotherapy Cryosauna to experience the benefits of whole body spa treatment, using cold temperatures to promote natural healing and wellness. Our Cryosauna provides whole cryotherapy as a fast and effective alternative to traditional ice baths. A single 3-minute refreshing impact cryotherapy session promotes natural healing. Now, guys, this isn't just... Let me bring that phrase back. This isn't hearsay. I've done this. I've done the cryotherapy. Even after the first session, I could feel a difference. And I could feel a boost in my energy for the day, which was terrible because I went at 6 in the afternoon. And you might be thinking, you can go at 6 in the afternoon. Yeah, that's right. Their hours are phenomenal. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's great. You can go during, if let's say you work the night shift, that's fine. Go during the day. Let's say you work some crazy hours, that's fine. Go on your lunch break. Let's say you work a 9 to 5, no problem. Go home, take a shower, go do your cryotherapy. You'll still have time to do it, unless you're dealing with our traffic from the plants. Then you might not make it on time. Just go straight to them and get it done. Because, listen to this, it's crazy. Your first visit today is only $25. That's it. If you go in and you tell them that Casey and PWR sent you, tell them that Casey and Pro Wrestling Roundabout sent you, your first visit today is only $25. That's ridiculous. Because after that, every other session is $50. So you can go in right now, $25, get a boost in your energy, and start messing with those nagging back pains, those knee pains, those pains that you have in your legs or your ankles or whatever, in your shoulders, whatever. Cryotherapy can help. So go in, check them out today. Oh, but did you think I was done? I'm not, because not only do they do the cryotherapy, but they do the Normatec compression. That's right. Normatec is the leader in rapid recovery. Our systems give a competitive edge to the world's elite athletes, coaches, and trainers. That's right, I said athletes. So for all of you pro wrestlers out there that are around the Lake Charles area, this is for you as well. Normatec uses compressed air to massage your limbs, mobilize fluid, and speed recovery with our talented Normatec Pulse massage pattern. So I know a lot of you guys and gals out there deal with the sciatica and the knee pains and the leg pains, getting up in the morning after hitting the mat for years and years and years and years gets tough. Cryotherapy and this Normatec compression can help you. So go check out Lake Charles Cryotherapy. Again, 832 University Drive, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70605, 337-656-2907. Check them out at lccryo.com, lccryo.com. And make sure to tell them Casey and PWR sent you, and your first visit will be $25. But, moving forward, let's talk some AEW. Cody's opponent has finally been announced for Double or Nothing. And it was none other than his brother, Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Runnels Goldust, whatever you want to call him. We're not quite sure what we're going to call him yet. I was talking to my good buddy Donnie. Again, shout out to Donnie. About whether or not Dustin was done with WWE. And Donnie said, I don't think so. I think he's just working. I think he's on a Legends deal and he's allowed to do this. And I said, man, I don't think so. I think WWE would kind of, nip that in the bud right away. And the day after they announced this matchup, Dustin, or Goldust, sent a farewell to WWE, I believe on Twitter. So it's official. He is no longer with the company. His contract expired, I'm guessing. And he's going to be wrestling Cody at Double or Nothing. And I love this. This is a match that should have happened years ago at WrestleMania. And we just never got it. I would have even been okay if it was Goldust and Stardust, but we never got it. So now we're getting to see Cody going up against Dustin or Goldust or half and half. We don't really know. The tagline is the Nightmare versus the Natural. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. But we don't know what version of Dustin Rhodes we're going to see. Part of me wants to see Cody versus Dustin, but the other part of me wants to see Cody versus Goldust, because Goldust is the character that I fell in love with. As a child in the Attitude Era, he's that character that really drew me to Dustin Rhodes. I didn't know who Dustin Rhodes before Goldust because I'm a wee young lad. But I'm hoping we get to see just a fantastic match regardless, and I think we will, because both of these guys are really good. I think Dustin is probably the better wrestler overall, but Cody's younger. Regardless, I think these guys are going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be a great match, and I cannot wait to see it. Last but not least, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What so many people have, quote, confirmed to me and to multiple other skeptics, because I'm still skeptical about it, is that apparently CM Punk made a return to an indie fed over the weekend under a mask. Hit the GTS on a worker, and then left the building. I've seen the video, and a lot of people are saying that it can't be CM Punk because this guy's so small. But don't forget, CM Punk slimmed down like 30 or 40 pounds for UFC. So CM Punk's sitting in like the 170s range. He's tiny. He's like my size now. Actually, he's just a slight bigger. But he's tiny, so please don't think that he's as big as he used to be. A lot of people are saying that the GTS was sloppy. Now I'm hearing that was on purpose. I don't know. Was this CM Punk? We won't really know until CM Punk tells us. And I'm not going to speculate that it was until CM Punk tells us. So until then, I'm going to assume that it could be or it couldn't be. I'm going to assume that maybe it was. If it wasn't, cool. But if it wasn't him, then kudos to whoever started this story and made this a headline, because they're gonna get a whole bunch of attention whenever they come out as whoever they are. If it's not CM Punk, if it is CM Punk, kudos to him, because he said years ago, right after he left, or not too long after he left WWE, he was asked if he would ever go back to WWE or if he would ever go back to wrestling, whatever. And he said no, that he would never go back to WWE, but if he did ever go back to wrestling, it would be in front of a crowd of only a few hundred people at a small indie federation under a mask. And that's what he said. And if it comes full circle after 5 years, then kudos to him. That's fantastic. I just know that he is too big of a name to... I know he's doing commentary for MMA, but if he's going to step back in the ring, go to AEW, or go to Ring of Honor, or go to New Japan if you don't want to do WWE. That's fine. I think he eventually will go back to WWE, because most people do. I don't think he'll ever wrestle again for WWE, but he'll get inducted into the Hall of Fame one day. I think this is great. I think this is a great story for wrestling. In this post-WrestleMania kind of letdown that we're in right now. Not letdown, but kind of drag until SummerSlam. I think this is great. I'm happy that we have more news. If this is CM Punk, I'm thrilled. I love CM Punk so much. He was one of my favorite wrestlers, in my teenage years. And if this is him, great. I can't wait to see him wrestle again. If this wasn't him, cool. This guy or this person caught my attention, just like everybody else. But I'm looking at my notes. I think that's about it. I think I need to get a co-host so I can tell people that they're wrong all the time. But it's okay. I enjoy talking by myself, because if I talk by myself, I suck all the oxygen out of the room, and I'm used to doing that. And I don't know anybody that's better at talking than I am. Except for maybe Mikey O. Mikey O's pretty good at talking, because he talks so much. Anyways, that's going to do it for the episode 1 here, the maiden voyage here on the Roar Network, the AMP Network, whatever you want to call us. I appreciate you guys for having me on so much. I really do appreciate it. I know it's been months coming, but it's here. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Check us out on Facebook at Pro Wrestling Roundabout. That one's easy. Instagram is pro_wrestling_roundabout, and you can check us out on Twitter if you want. We don't use it, but you can follow us there. It's real_roundabout. Stay tuned for more episodes in the future. We have some interviews, some never before heard interviews that you guys will be getting exclusively here on this podcast. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Last little shout out, go check out the Tailgate Kings on Facebook. That's the radio show I am affiliated with. We are strictly a sports show, but every time there is wrestling coming around, they are so gracious enough to allow me to get on the microphone and talk about some wrestling. So go check out the Tailgate Kings. And until next time, till next week, we're going to try to make this a weekly thing, guys. Until next week, I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for stopping in. This has been Casey Jones from Pro Wrestling Roundabout, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.